Hi everybody, today I'd like to talk to you about the Mass Effect Legendary Editions and just basically my general impressions on it after having played it for around 60 hours now. I'm halfway through Mass Effect 2, so I've done Horizon but before the IFF basically. And these are just basically my general impressions on the game and basically just how I like the Legendary Edition. And so far it's been pretty enjoyable actually. I've finished Mass Effect 1 already, and so I'll start with that. Overall, I'd say I really like the improvements to it. The combat is actually enjoyable for the first time in a BioWare game, basically. The funny thing is, usually, like in the original Mass Effect, I just dropped the difficulty to casual because I couldn't be bothered. The combat system was so clunky and awkward, so I just powered through it on casual, and it was fine, I guess. But now it's actually enjoyable, and I finished my first playthrough on Insanity. The thing with Insanity now, Mass Effect 1, is that I don't know, I'm pretty sure I read some people that said it's a lot easy now, and I played it for myself and it was surprisingly easy. Like I ran into very little difficulties playing through the games, and eventually when I got the pistol with the high explosive rounds, literally nothing could stop me, and even the final boss battle with Saren was like a cakewalk. So it was a lot easier than I'd expected to be. Of course, I still died a few times, but nothing that I couldn't handle. I remember the fight on Ferrum, I think it's called, where you recruit Liara with the Gav armature or the Colossus. I don't know. Well, you know those big guys that you usually roll over in the Mako with. I remember that fight was a bit of a pain because that was the first time I had to fight the Gav sniper things that climb on the wall. But eventually, when I learned how to counter them, it was surprisingly easy actually. So I expected a lot more from a difficulty called Insanity. I thought it would be insanely difficult, but they just made it a lot easier, and they made a lot of improvements to the Mass Effect combat in general. So it's actually quite enjoyable right now. I do wish they changed the inventory system around. They made some change, like how you can scrap items, okay, so you have a limit of 150 items, is it 150? It's something like that, of equipment you can get, and you get a lot of equipment throughout the game. And in the original Mass Effect you had to scrap it one by one, and it was such a hassle, and they changed it, but it's still not that much better, because you still have to mark each one that you want to scrap them, so it's only marginally improved, but I mean it's still better. But I just wish they changed the UI for the inventory system, because it's so terrible. It feels so early 2000s. It feels like if you're playing Knights of the Old Republic basically. It doesn't really fit, and I have to say I really like the equipment in Mass Effect 1. It's really enjoyable to fiddle around with it and give your squad the best gear, but the UI is just so horrible. It's such a hassle to equip all your party members, and you have to because it took me until my I think second or third playthrough until I even learned that equipment that you could equip fucking weapon mods. So it's badly explained, and the UI is just terrible. But in general, I do like the system and the changes they made to it. I've gone on a ramble about the fucking UI for very long now. I'll just say about Mass Effect 1 that I really like the new Mako controls. I think they really improved it. I wish I know that they wouldn't do this because too much of a change, but I wish they changed the fucking Uncharted worlds, because they're badly designed. I know in the original Mass Effect, the side quests basically, there was less budget for it, and they had less time to work on these side quests. So the most of the love went to the main story and all the big planets like Pharaohs or Novaria, whatever. And the side quests were more just an afterthought. I did do them in the original game because I thought what they lacked in like presentation. I thought there were pretty nice stories, like they were well written at least most of the time. So I still did them, but navigating these uncharted worlds is so fucking terrible. I don't know which which monkey designed these planets, because they what they do is they drop you on the planet in like a big open space, and then all the objectives you have to go to are like behind big mountains that you couldn't climb with the Mako. You'd have to like spend like minutes trying to scale the mountain. So I do like that they added the thrusters now, because it makes it easier to scale those mountains. But it's just a testament to how badly they were designed, basically the original Uncharted worlds, because they learned from their mistake in what's it called, Bring Down the Sky, right? They have more flat land, and the mountains are a lot more scalable, so you can climb them a lot easier. But in the original game, it was just such a mess. Yeah, I really enjoyed my time with Mass Effect 1. You can tell it still feels like the original Mass Effect. It still feels a bit clunky, but just with like improved graphics. And I mean, you play Mass Effect for the story, and the story is still great. I do have to say, in the case of Mass Effect 1, I like that they didn't make any story changes, because I think Mass Effect 1 is an amazing game, and they really didn't. Like, they just had to remove the jank for a bit, and then it was fine. One thing, okay, this might be a bit controversial maybe, but I didn't think the original Mass Effect looked that bad. Thought there was some jank with it, but it was nothing like Knights of the Old Republic, for example. So I don't think Mass Effect 1 was in that desperate of a need for a remaster. I'm glad they did it, and it's nice that the original trilogy got some love finally after Mass Effect Andromeda, which isn't the worst game, but it's just terribly mediocre. So I like that they went back to the original trilogy, because those were the days that the Mass Effect trilogy was actually good, the Mass Effect series. But the Mass Effect 1 looks fine, like even in the original. I really like how it aged, although some people might really disagree with that. I went back to Mass Effect 2, like the original one, and I noticed how dark it was. I don't remember it being that dark. Okay, for some people, for some reason, a lot of people were complaining about the lens flare in the Mass Effect 2, and I'm just thinking, have you ever played a Mass Effect game? Like, lens flare is basically like they use it so much throughout the trilogy, and Mass Effect 1's lighting system was so terrible. Like, everything was so drenched in color, like it was so excessive. But that's kind of what gave people looked at it as like a unique visual style for Mass Effect 1, and people disliked that they changed the colors around, it seemed, for the Legendary Edition. But I have to say, after playing Mass Effect 1, it's still a very blue game. It still feels like Star Trek, or basically, but then like a video game, and it's good. So you still like it. One noticeable scene was where you recruit Tali in Mass Effect 1, or where you first meet her in like the alleyway, and how red, like just the color red, that original scene was. And it's still pretty red, but now I'd say it's more. It feels a bit more. It feels better, basically. It isn't drenched in red anymore, but it's still like a very red scene. So they kept like the original, like the original colors of the game in, but they toned it down a little bit, because admittedly it was a bit excessive. I did like, I quite like the excessive blue in the original Mass Effect. It feels very like sci-fi. But I've just noticed I've been talking about the color blue and red for like a few minutes now, so I'll move on for that. Mass Effect 1 is a really good game. It's an amazing game. Like the intro still gave me fucking goosebumps, and the ending, I have to give special mention to the ending. Holy shit, it's good. Like it was amazing the thing is with the Mass Effect 1 ending is that it gets overlooked by the Mass Effect 2 ending. Somewhat for good reason, because the Mass Effect 2 ending is the best ending to any game ever. But people forget how good the original ending to Mass Effect 1 was. Like the moment when you like drop on the outside of the citadel and like the camera changed around. There was such like the cinematography in the original ending for Mass Effect was just so good. And I have to say, in the Legendary Edition, I was literally in awe just by how good it looks. It really looks, it looks fucking fantastic right now. I have to give special mention. I come in my pants every time I think of this moment. You know the scene where Sovereign like, I everything with Sovereign in Mass Effect 1 is just amazing, but like the moment on Eden Prime where he like lifts off, which is like iconic basically. But the Sovereign bit in the ending is just so good. Like when you can, like you have the clouds and you see the like from the point of view of the like Citadel Defense Force basically. And you can see like Sovereign, you can see like the lightning appear from like behind the clouds basically, and Sovereign just drifts through like the fucking ship. It's such a good scene, and especially the uplink scene where Sovereign like uplinks with the Citadel control tower. That's one of my favorite moments in the entire trilogy basically. And the music, the fucking music that plays there, it's like composed by God himself. Like, holy shit, this is such a good scene. And I like the camera turns around with the fucking amazing music playing. Holy shit, it looks so amazing with the Legendary Edition. I just wanted to give special mention to that because I thought that was really well done. So yeah, anyway, that's basically Mass Effect 1. Now on to Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2 is my favorite game of all time. I've played through it about 5 times. Played through Mass Effect 1 and 3 about 4 times. But I've played Mass Effect 2 is my most played. Well, did the most playthroughs of it. And I have to say, it's the best game of all time. I'm incredibly biased on this, I know, but it's such a good game. And I'm playing through it now, and well, if I'm honest, I start to notice also the flaws with it, because I know I said it's a perfect game, but it really isn't. But just the experience I felt playing Mass Effect 2 for the first time was just unrivaled. No other game except for maybe Knights of the Old Republic managed to capture the feeling I got from my first playthrough of Mass Effect 2. I like the feeling of of being in command. Basically, that's something that I think Mass Effect 2 did really well. But now onto the Legendary Edition. Yeah, it looks nice. It's basically they didn't change as much for Mass Effect 2. They just pretty sure they just changed like graphical stuff, maybe some minor bug fixes. Although I did still have that bug, you know, with Conrad Vernon, where I was nice to him in Mass Effect 1, but they still, the game flagged it as with the save game import, it flagged it as I was hostile to him, and like just something that's still in the game. So in Mass Effect 2, they thought I basically did the renegade action to Conrad in Mass Effect 1, which it isn't like a game breaking bug or anything, but it's just a bit annoying because as you all know, Conrad Vernon is the best character in the trilogy. So it's a shame that that's still in there. Also, I'm playing through Mass Effect 2 on Insanity 2, and something I noticed, especially during the recruitment mission for Samara and also for Thane, is just the lack of thermal clips that were there. A lot of people criticize Mass Effect 2 for like going like they stripped the overheating thing from Mass Effect 1 with the guns, and they changed it to like a thermal clips system. So it's basically like every other first or third person shooter. I didn't mind it that much, but I noticed during the recruitment missions for Thane and Samara that there was just such a lack of thermal clips, especially during Samara's loyalty mission. I had to rely on my biotics fully, because for all my weapons I ran out of thermal clips. So I've looked it up when I played it, and apparently it was in the original Mass Effect 2, Uh, so it was already like an issue in Mass Effect 2, like originally, but I don't know. Maybe I only noticed probably because I'm playing on Insanity right now, so I never had. Usually I just play non like normal or whatever. Oh, and yeah, so it yeah, it was a bit difficult. I'd say also that Mass Effect 2, in general, is a lot more difficult than Mass Effect 1. I've died not that much, I guess, but I can really tell it's a lot more of a difficult game. I remember there was one side quest that I played. I played it quite early on, so that's probably my fault. Where you where you like landed on the planet and there were like a 160 mechs that you have to get back to the shuttle, but you just get overwhelmed by fucking mechs, and there were also like the big I don't know what they're called, like, you know, the ones that can fire rockets. That was I was stuck on that mission for quite a while. That was a really difficult mission. Holy shit! Eventually I got it though, but it was quite frustrating. Maybe I did it too early because I didn't have that many upgrades yet for my guns. So probably my fault, but I basically soft locked myself into that mission because my previous save was like an hour before that, so I had to finish that mission because I didn't want to like replay an hour of my Mass Effect 2. So eventually I got it though, and it's not even that worth mentioning, I guess. But it's just Mass Effect 2 is like they didn't really make it easier, which is fine because I think it's Mass Effect 2 offers an enjoyable challenge. I think it's never. I don't think it's never unfairly difficult. I'm trying to think of anything that I thought that was like, where I really thought like fuck this game. But it's overall I'd say it's fairly balanced, I guess. I do have to say something that I noticed about Mass Effect 2 that I didn't thought. I never really cared that much about this, but I dislike how they streamlined powers basically, because I fucking enjoyed Mass Effect 1. I've never enjoyed Mass Effect 1 as much as I did now basically, and I really enjoyed. I started to play with the powers a lot more, like the biotics. And in Mass Effect 1 is really good. The biotics are really good. And there are a lot to choose from basically. There's a lot of cool powers you can use, and they really streamlined that a lot in Mass Effect 2, which is a shame because now as Shepard you can only have like, I think 4 powers, if I remember correctly. You have like the couple normal ones, and you can have one extra of the advanced training, and I chose Barrier. By the way, little tip, if you're playing Mass Effect 2 on Insanity, take the Barrier. It's fucking OP. I love it so much. The recharge rate is so high, and you just immediately get your shields back. So if you, I'm pretty sure Jacob has the Barrier, I'm not entirely sure. So try to do his loyalty mission and then take the advanced training upgrade. You can get it at like the upgrade thing in Morden's lab. Get the Barrier. That's basically what I'm trying to say. It's really fucking good. It was even more overpowered, I remember, in like the original Mass Effect. When you're playing on lower difficulties, it was so insanely good, and still it's incredibly useful right now. But yeah, they streamlined biotics a bit more, and they streamlined like the entire entire like character upgrading thing. They really like, you can only upgrade your powers basically, and like the assault training, whatever it's called, like the general, you get more health, more paragon points or whatever. They just have those. When Mass Effect 1 you also could invest in like your weapons that you have, your charm and your intimidation. Those were Mass Effect 1 was more of an RPG basically. It felt more like it felt more close to something like Knights of the Old Republic. But Mass Effect 2, yeah, it's a very good game. I still love it to death. And I have to say, I've been playing some of the side quests, and I think they're actually quite fun. They were really they feel like an afterthought, but I think it's fairly enjoyable just because the combat is fun, basically. So I still do enjoy playing the side quests. Now I haven't gone to Mass Effect 3 yet. I will probably in the future, but then, as I said, I'm only halfway through Mass Effect 2. Oh, and I just want to say, I haven't seen the suicide mission for Mass Effect 2 yet in the Legendary Edition, but the in the original Mass Effect, the suicide mission is my favorite ending to any game ever. It's the suicide mission is so incredibly good, like holy shit. So I am pretty excited to see how it's gonna be in the Legendary Edition. If it's anything like Mass Effect 1's ending in the Legendary Edition, well, I'm gonna be in for a treat. Now on to Mass Effect 3, basically. I haven't played it yet, but I'll just say some things. I know that they didn't change they didn't change any story things about Mass Effect for the Legendary Edition, basically. And I think they should have made one exception. Jesus Christ. You probably know what I'm talking about for Mass Effect 3. The ending. Yeah, it's shit. There are a lot of people nowadays that are defending the ending. I don't understand. Like, the entirety of Priority Earth, which is basically like the final mission for Mass Effect 3, is shit. It's terrible. Like, the moment you land on Earth, the game devolves into shit. It's terrible. Like, okay, Mass Effect. I'm fumbling over my words right now, but I have to get this out because I don't understand how they didn't change the ending. The ending is so bad. Like, I get Mass Effect 1 of Mass Effect 3, I mean, fuck, was made on the, like, big time restraints. I think they had like 1.5 years to make it, basically, which Mass Effect 3 is like the most ambitious game out of the trilogy, but they also had the least amount of time to work on it, which is just... It's fucking why EA? But okay, so you never really feel like the time restraints that much in the like most of the game. You can tell with like the side quests in Mass Effect 3. The side quests in Mass Effect 3 are fucking horrible. You have two people talking on like the Citadel or whatever, and Shepard's just sniffing their asses, trying to find ways to stop the Reapers, and they're just like listening to their private conversations, and you have to go to like a system and pick up like the legendary cock ring of the Krogan or whatever, and you get like +5 war, what's called, like the war points or whatever the fuck those were called in Mass Effect 3. And yeah, the side quests are terrible, and the Priority Earth is such a mess. Like, the level design is terrible. Like, they think ramping up the difficulty means just spamming Banshees at you. If you've played Mass Effect 3 before, you know how Banshees are really fucking good. Like, Banshees are probably like the best designed enemy out of the Mass Effect trilogy, if I'm honest. Like, they're just in regular combat. Like, the Mass Effect 3 is like a cover-based shooter, and the Banshees basically force you out of cover because they keep flanking behind you. So they're really good enemies, but like remember that scene where you have to like defend the AA gun or whatever, and they're like 4 Banshees coming at you like at the same time, basically. So that's basically how they thought, oh, we have to like make a climactic final fight, and they just spam Banshees. It's not very good. And another thing was where they had like a linear hallway, like a linear corridor, and they just like put one of those, I think it's called a Brute, like the big enemy from Mass Effect 3. They just placed like one of those big guys at the end of the corridor, and when you like, if you leave the corridor, you go inside like the remnants of a shop, I think, and you could literally tell the marauders being spawned in. Like, the spawn points are so terrible. It feels more like you're playing a Call of Duty game than Mass Effect. So I hoped, again, I haven't played it yet, but I don't imagine they changed much about it, and I think they should have changed the ending, because even with the extended cut DLC, it's rushed. It gives you fuck all closure. It's full of plot holes. Like, how? And the final boss fight, I know this is a meme, but Marauder Shield, the final boss fight in the entire Mass Effect trilogy is one Marauder that you have to shoot, like, slowly. It's how? Like, how, BioWare? Why did you not change it? I get why it was so bad in the original Mass Effect 3, but now I just think, well, they had the chance to remake it, but they didn't. I know I said I haven't played it, but they said they didn't change any story things about Mass Effect, so I think they, as I said, they should have made an exception for the ending of Mass Effect 3. And just in general, I do think Mass Effect 3 is a really good game, though. I do like one of the changes I liked from Mass Effect 3 from the Legendary Edition is that they actually have like Tali's face in the picture right now, because what they used to have, if you romance Tali, you could see like a picture frame of a picture with a picture of Tali's face, and what they did, they just like googled a stock photo of like a model, and they changed it to make it seem a bit more alien. That was the big surprise. Like, hey guys, here's Liara. Now go fuck yourself. That's basically what BioWare did. They made her look like they actually designed Tali's face like right now. Although I'm gonna shit my fucking pants here, because I don't understand why BioWare did this. On Rennek, you probably know what I'm going to be talking about. Why on earth did they like cut away from when Tali takes off her face mask on Rennek? Why? Like, it's just I'm fumbling over my words. How the fuck did they think that was a good idea? Like, okay, so I've been wanting to romance Tali like for 5 playthroughs now, but every time I think no, because the only time she's even somewhat remotely good to romance is in Mass Effect 2. I know all the people that romance Tali are gonna shit their pants right now, but BioWare just did her so dirty in Mass Effect 3. In general, the romance in Mass Effect 3 was a bit shit. But yeah, I guess they should have showed her face on Rennek. Like, why did she cut away? Like, I'm pretty sure there was like a mod that restored her face, but that doesn't feel canon to me, so I don't get any satisfaction from that. Like, why BioWare? Why did you cut away from her face? So that's basically the main reason why I never romanced Tali. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that I like that at least that they changed the picture frame. That was a good addition. Thanks, BioWare. So yeah, I haven't played Mass Effect 3 yet, but I can imagine it's probably good. Like, Mass Effect 3 was already, like, combat-wise and gameplay-wise in general, it was the best out of the trilogy. Like, it had the most fun combat, especially when you get the what's like the N7 Crusader. It's literally like the most overpowered shotgun, or just a weapon in general out of the Mass Effect trilogy. It was better than the fucking snipers in the game. So I can't wait to get to Mass Effect 3, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I see that I've been rambling for a very long time. This was not structured, if you couldn't already tell. I've just sat here for like half an hour talking about how much I like Mass Effect, and I do want to say, I just want to emphasize at the end of the video, the Mass Effect trilogy are my favorite games of all time. I love them to death. I've played them so many times. I am enjoying myself too now with the Legendary Edition. So I'm just happy that, you know, I was afraid that Mass Effect would be a bit dead after Andromeda, and again, I don't think Andromeda is like a bad game. It's just so terribly mediocre. But yeah, the BioWare of the Mass Effect series was basically on like stasis after Andromeda it felt like. So I'm happy that they at least went back to the original trilogy, because they were the best games of all time. Incredibly biased again. But yeah, if you have watched this for this long and you haven't bought the Legendary Edition, I would recommend you to do it. I think the Legendary Edition basically is the definitive way to play through the Mass Effect trilogy. I like that it's all in one convenient launcher right now, the trilogy. And the save game import is incredibly easy now, because in the original trilogy you have to go to I think it was like the binary or whatever. You have to go to the folder for Mass Effect, and it was a bit of a hassle. But now it's really easy to do it because it does it automatically. So yeah, it's the definitive way to play the Mass Effect trilogy. Basically, what I'm trying to say with the Legendary Edition. If you haven't bought it and you seriously have watched this entire 30-minute video, then what is wrong with you? You've wasted 30 minutes of your time. Go buy it. And if you have played the game and you have watched all this time, which again I don't think you did. I know I've just been rambling for like 30 minutes right now, and I'm probably not making very much sense because I don't have a script written. I'm not a native English speaker. I'm just sitting here rambling about some games that I really fucking love. But yeah, it's good. That's what I'm trying to say. Legendary Edition is good, I guess. Well, thanks for watching. Again, if you have watched till the end, which I don't think you did, I've been saying that a lot. Thanks for watching, basically. Go buy the Legendary Edition. I love Mass Effect. I can't wait for the new Mass Effect, although I knowing BioWare's track record, I'm not gonna be excited for the new Mass Effect. I can fully expect it's probably not going to be bad, but I'm just afraid it's going to be very, very, very mediocre. So I don't have any expectations basically for the next Mass Effect game. I'm trying to like restrain myself from being somewhat excited about it, which I also did for the Legendary Edition because I don't want to be disappointed again. I don't ever get like disappointed for a game's release, or like for if it's turns out to be shit. And the Mass Effect trilogy is the only trilogy of games that I somewhat care about, I guess. Like I don't think I've ever bought a game on release, and I bought the Legendary Edition like the day after release, which is something I never fucking do. So it's just I just love these games so much, and I don't want to disappoint myself again, because after Mass Effect 3, yeah, the Mass Effect is fucked basically. So I hope it's gonna be good, but I have no expectations again for it. I've been rambling for way too long. Thanks for watching. I'll probably make more videos if this turns out to be somewhat good. There's quite a lot of games that I feel like I have something not insightful to say about, but that is something I have something to say about basically. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you later.